You guys like the Avengers Doomsday trailer? I hope you did, because I don't think any of that is what's going to be in the actual movie. Look, I'm very excited for Avengers Doomsday to come out. I've loved all the Avengers movies. Yes, even Age of Ultron, which set up the next like 5 to 8 years of what ended up happening. So yeah, even that movie gets a good pass from me. And so I think that given how long it's been since we got an Avengers movie, this movie is way too big for Marvel to want to come out and start giving out actual details from the movie. I do believe a few things. I believe that the teams that are in this are going to be real. I think that the Fantastic Four being there and the Wakandans being there are going to be team sets. And I do believe they're going to meet up at some point and try to figure out a plan to stop Doomsday. I do believe Thor's probably going to fight Doomsday at some point. I believe that he's going to interact with Steve Rogers at some point. Like, that stuff is going to happen. I just don't think that the shots that they gave us are the exact shots that we're going to see in the movie. In the past, the Russo brothers, when they were making like the other Avengers movies, if you looked at the behind the scenes, they shot so many different versions of what we eventually ended up getting. Even with like, Natasha's character and Hawkeye jumping off the mountain, there were numerous ways that happened. And then there were other characters that did it. Like, they shot so much stuff so that way they'd have stuff to pull from. And so that was great, because then when the audience went to actually see Avengers Endgame and Avengers Infinity War, some of the stuff that was in the trailer ended up being a misdirect. That famous scene where like they're all running in the forest and Hulk's and stuff there, and then you see the movie and Hulk can't even be Hulk. Like, that was a great teaser where we're like, oh, we're going to see this one scene, and then that's not what happened at all. And so I think what Marvel, the Russo brothers and them are doing is they're actually putting together a bunch of shots that they did take. Like, I think these shots were actually taken on set, but I think when they were on set, what they did was they shot a bunch of alternate shots that they could use to put together these various trailers, these various voiceovers that the public at large would still eat up, because we haven't seen the Avengers as a team since 2019. And so it'll still get us right up to want to see the movie, even if the shots that we see don't ever actually appear in the movie. Now, I could be wrong. This video could age very poorly, and every single shot that we see in every single trailer could, in fact, actually be in the movie. But my money's on these shots are not going to be there. Whether it's the exact shots that we saw, or it could be the people that are acting out the scenes could be there, but the backdrops could be different, the side characters could be different, the dialogue could be different. Any number of things that we're seeing in these trailers could be changed, but my bet is on that the majority of what we saw in these trailers is not what we're going to actually see in the final product, because they're trying to make sure that whatever is in Avengers Doomsday is going to be as much of a surprise to the public as it possibly can be. Now, some people might hear that and be like, that would completely annoy me. I'm going to the movie in part because of the stuff I saw in the previews. And to that I say, so what? They are banking on all we actually care about is seeing our favorite heroes. And to that end, the trailer did a great job of pairing people together that we haven't seen in a long time, whether it was the guy with the rings and then also Gambit fighting together. That's a great scene. Being able to see Xavier and Magneto together, we want to see those characters together. Fantastic. Being able to see Thor and former Cap together. They know fans want to see that. Hey, let's throw that in the trailer also. And so we're going to get those scenes in the movie, but for the trailer, it's not going to matter in the end how accurate these scenes actually were in the trailer with regards to what shows up in the movie. What we do care about is we get to see our favorite characters side by side on screen. It looks amazing. In the trailer, they're fighting each other a lot. And so who's to say if that's going to happen in the movie or not? Maybe they're fighting each other, or that's just how they introduce each other to each other, and then they end up like fighting a bigger baddie. In the trailer, we only see one person go against an actual villain, and that is Thor going against Dr. Doom. And even that scene, I would argue, doesn't have enough context for us to know if that's the actual scene that's going to play out. Yes, we see Black Widow's sister fight the blue lady that ends up morphing into her, but we don't know if they're actually going to be allies in this movie or not, because again, it's a big existential threat that's coming. And so even though they meet up and they're initially fighting, they could all be working together, or some of them could still be enemies and others are not. But the point is, regardless of what's going on, everything you saw in the trailer, as far as I'm concerned, is a misdirect. It is meant to get us hyped, but it's also meant to not give us enough stuff. And if you even notice too, like the actual trailer itself didn't give away any story plots. It just gave away oh, there's a threat coming and these things are going to be bigger than ever. And it's all the characters gathering together and then fighting each other. And then you see Thor like attack Doom. And then you see Thor meet up with Steve Rogers and then cut to. There was no semblance of any kind of story whatsoever given away, which is my point, that they're not trying to give away too much about this. So even these trailers, they know in the movie industry, you got to make a trailer. So they're going to make these trailers. They are not the movie. All that said, I'd love to know your thoughts. Do you think we are actually getting snippets from the movie that are going to be in the movie, or do you think they're fooling us and have a bigger plan? Let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to know your thoughts. That's all I got. I'm APT Songs, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.